This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a fun episode for you guys today, man. Some of you guys may have seen this come out recently. Some of you may have not. It's going to trigger you. It's going to trigger you if you haven't seen it yet, because it pissed me off when I read the article first. But before we go there, man, just huge shout out to all you guys that are following along with our journey. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Some of you are already emailing in with topic requests. We truly appreciate it. So if you do have a topic request, send that over to info@thefatherhoodexperience.com, and we will be happy to incorporate any suggestions you guys might have. Because I'm not going to lie, sometimes we run out of shit to talk about because we feel like we're saying the same stuff all the time. But you guys keep showing up, so we're providing you value, and that's what we're here to do. So today, we're going to talk about something a little bit fucked up, dude, and I hope you're ready, because I know you don't even know what it's all about yet.
No. No. So what?
No.
Let's go. What is it? What is it?
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you, when I saw this come on my, this was on Twitter. You know, my fucking kryptonite here, right? Stupid Twitter. When I saw this come across my timeline, it was from somebody who had quote tweeted this, and he's got a pretty big following. And he quote tweeted it. He's very into the health and fitness realm, as is anybody who wants to get better, right? I think that's a pretty solid statement to say. Is it's a standard for men who are successful, or who wanting to be more successful, making their health a priority, right? Obviously, it opens up doors that you wouldn't otherwise have. So I totally understand why he's into health and fitness, because it's just like you and me being in health and fitness. We like to feel good. It feels damn good to feel damn good. But he quote tweeted it with just like one thing. It said medications and surgery over diet and exercise, and that was it. So it caught my attention. I'm like, okay. So I pull it up, and this was actually a article written by CBS News of all sites. And I looked at it, the verified account on Twitter, found the article. I don't believe any garbage, right? And the article, the tweet from this account was titled this. And I'm going to pull open the article, but I want you to see what their little blurb was on the tweet. And this is a picture. So in the picture, there's a picture of what looks to be like a nurse with a stethoscope writing down on a little pad. She's got a measuring tape, and there's a fat kid sitting next to her, right? The kid's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 rolls on his gut, and then some pretty massive man boobs. And you can tell he's pretty young, right? Like I'd bet he's not over 10 or so. And the headline reads, "Children struggling with obesity should be evaluated and treated early and aggressively, including with medications for kids as young as 12 and surgery for those as young as 13, according to new guidelines released."
Fuck out of here, dude. Hold on. I didn't even let you finish it. That's fucked up.
Dude, this is where we're at as a country.
All right, anyways, go ahead. That's crazy. All right, go ahead.
So we're going to dissect. It's all good, dude. I told you were going to be triggered by it, because
what in the hell?
All right, like, this is not it's not acceptable, but and I have my own reasonings behind this, but let me just I'm going to skim a little bit of this here and just tell you, because it's not super long. I'm just going to read like the piece where it says all the way down to read more. It says, children struggling with obesity should be evaluated and treated early and aggressively, including with medications for kids young as 12 and surgery for those as young as 13, according to new guidelines released Monday. The long-standing practice of watchful waiting or delaying treatment to see whether children and teens outgrow or overcome obesity on their own only worsens the problem that affects more than 14.4 million young people in the U.S., researchers say. Left untreated, obesity can lead to lifelong health problems, including high blood pressure, diabetes, and depression. Waiting doesn't work, said Dr. Ihuoma Eneli, co-author of the first guidance on childhood obesity in 15 years from the American Academy of Pediatrics. what we see is a continuation of weight gain and the likelihood that they'll have obesity in adulthood. For the first time, the group's guidance sets ages at which kids and teens should be offered medical treatments such as drugs and surgery, in addition to intensive diet, exercise, and other behavioral and lifestyle interventions. I'm not going to go any further. This is rambling on about a bunch of bullshit, and I already have plenty to say without reading the rest of that garbage. But dude, when I saw this, man, like I was appalled. And if you look at this and then you look back to because I found this other article from, it was like a year and a half ago. Do you remember when McDonald's was promoting Big Macs in exchange for the jab, right? You'd go get a jab and get a Big Mac. There's a lot of people doing this.
Krispy Kreme for donuts, the Krispy Kreme with the donuts. Yeah.
Right. Those two, like this article today, and then that.
But close your gym. By the way,
but close your gym. Exactly.
Close your gym. It's not essential, but fucking
in the name of health. Okay.
Right.
So those two articles really exemplify where America is at as a country when it comes to health. And there's so many ways we can go about this, man. But I think that I truly know the reason why this is being pushed. Like I think that this is much bigger than a concern for the obesity epidemic. What they've done here, they're creating a new billion-dollar industry, which is going to create dependency, medical dependency for these kids, right? If you have medications and surgeries, you have more treatments, blood work, follow-up appointments, insurance claims. It creates a lifelong dependency on the healthcare system, right? So now you've created a billion-dollar industry. Same thing that they're doing with the trans kids, right? When you're going and you're doing, the cutting off penises and cutting off breasts, when kids are 8, 10, 12, 14 years old, and they're not even old enough to drive or buy cigarettes or buy alcohol or any of the bad things that we have to be old enough to do. You've also created a billion-dollar industry, because now you've got these kids that are on hormone replacement therapy, which, by the way, is irreversible. They've just discovered this. It's not going to ever be reversible. So you're fucking these kids up for life, and you're creating another billion-dollar medical industry. So I truly believe that's the underlying root cause of an article like that. But let's say it's not. Let's act as if Jason's completely wrong. I'm completely out in left field with my assumption. And let's talk about this, dude, because this is not only sad, but it's fucking disturbing, because our country is the only country with a childhood obesity epidemic. In fact, most countries in this world, children are outside playing. They're not on video games all day, and their kids, their schools have built-in programs, PE and athletics. Like, we're the only country with a sick fucking childhood obesity epidemic that we do. And so let's hash this out, dude. Your initial thoughts on this? Obviously, I know a little bit about that, but what do you got here?
Well, first and foremost, it's bullshit. The pharmaceutical industry is back at it again, trying to groom the younger generation into believing that sweeping the dirt under the rug is the solution to your problems. When we all know damn well, if you sweep some shit under a rug, it looks clean, but it's not. So that's the first fucking problem here, is that they're grooming the younger generation into normalizing the consumption of pharmaceuticals, building a reliance upon them, making it on a subconscious level. If you start that young on a subconscious level, they're going to think that whenever anything is wrong, what can I take? Yeah. What can I take? Who's going to give me the pill? Who's going to give me the fix? Who's going to give me the Band-Aid? Who's going to sweep this problem under the rug? That is the fucking issue. We're not addressing the actual problem. We're not nipping it in the bud. We're not providing a true solution. We're providing a Band-Aid, and we're building reliance at an early age. That is irresponsible, to be honest with you. Now, it sounds nice. It sounds like they want to help, but that's not the answer to these problems. The answer, and look, I'll tell you, obesity is extremely complex. I followed and learned a few things from obesity specialists, and it's extremely complex, man. It comes to your education, socioeconomic status.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors.
Availability of fresh foods and groceries. There's many different reasons, right?
Tons of factors.
But here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. Personal responsibility will never not be one of the reasons, right? Especially in this day and age. Look, let's remember, like the whole obesity issue started happening in the 1950s. Then they started opening up gyms, and it just got progressively worse over the course of time, starting in the 50s. That was before the internet. That was before you could listen to podcasts. That was before you could buy CDs and programs on TV that's going to help you lose weight and teach you everything that actual specialists know. We live in 2023. There is more information out in like put out in this last like 2 years than has been in the entirety of like mankind.
Yep. We don't lack for information. We lack for application.
100%. At this point in time, if you're not doing anything whatsoever, you are choosing ignorance. You are absolutely
willful ignorance. Yep. It's willful
ignorance. Yep. Absolutely. So I understand that obesity is complex, but at the same time, we know that we should be doing things that are going to serve us, not hurt us. And we know as adults what's bad and what's good. Anybody, when we talk to certain people, we talk to people all the time, right? And they tell us, oh, I don't know what to eat. I know what to eat. Then focus on what you're not supposed to eat, and then don't eat that, and just eat everything else. It's really that simple. Like, why are you getting a candy bar when you could get a protein bar or whatever the hell like that? Why are you going to McDonald's when you could get a pre-made meal or something? You can have a fresher option. There's so many choices out there. There's so much information out there. Even if you're following the wrong information, if at least it puts you in the right direction, you're significantly better off than just trying to take a supplement or a pill or some nonsense. So I think that is bullshit. You're talking about surgery at the age of 13, medication at the age of 12, yet they tell us as adults to try to limit your medication as much as possible because it's going to mess up your organs. And they want to build kids who don't even have fully developed bodies. They want to already introduce that stuff at a chronic level. Now, look, sad, I know that waiting doesn't help anything. As a matter of fact, let me talk to you about some girl that I helped before. I was going to help before, who I had a little bit of, she was a prospect of mine. She wanted to lose a little bit of weight. Well, actually a lot of bit of weight. Anyways, I grew up with her. I went to high school with her. She is very, very obese, dude, morbidly obese. She's probably 350, 400 pounds. She's huge. Okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit.
Yeah.
Big. She is big. This is what she told me, because I was trying to get an idea of her lifestyle and all these things, how to come to be. I've known you your whole life. You've always been big. What's up? Like, tell me about that. She said when she was about 5 or 6 years old, she went to the doctor's appointment. And they said, hey, dude, your daughter's kind of big. You need to do something about this. And the mom's like, yeah, I know this and that. But the doctor said, but, you know, she is very young. She'll probably grow out of it. It's just baby fat. That's what they called it, right? Dude.
Baby fat.
33 years old. And bigger than ever. She told me that she genuinely thought until she was damn near 30 that this baby fat would finally drop off. Dude, imagine believing for damn near 2 decades, from the age of like 6, 7 or whatever the hell she was to like late 20s, that the weight was supposed to just fall off because it's just attributed to baby weight.
That's insane, dude.
That's messed up, dude.
That's mental like conditioning.
That is absolutely messed up. Now, just because that was the case, does it mean that she should have taken medication and gotten surgery at 12 and 13 years old? Fuck no, to the dude. No.
No.
Absolutely not. She needed to see an actual specialist, maybe a pediatric obesity specialist, maybe get some help from somebody else. But guess whose ultimately whose fault it is?
It's hers.
The parents, dude. Well, hers, of course, but it's the parents. Because
and that's where we're going to get to the
oh yeah, I know we are. Sure. I have a feeling we're going to go back and forth throughout this entire podcast episode talking about all the fucked up shit of this entire issue. But that's what it is. It's an issue.
You bring up a good point, and you ask whose fault is it right now? It's hers, 100% hers, because I'm a firm believer that no matter what your childhood was like, no matter how your parents.
By the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was talking about when she was a kid, an adolescent.
Yeah, for sure.
Then it was the parents' fault. But as of right now, then yes, it is her fault. Correct. Okay. Yes, I didn't clarify that.
We're on the same page there. Then So I'm not even going to go any deeper on that, because once you're at a certain, let's call it, you're out of the fucking house. You're out of your parents' house. It's no longer your parents' fault anymore. It's time for you to man up and make big boy decisions now and start fucking taking care of yourself. That's it. There's no other. You can't chop it up anyway. But we're on the same page there, so I'm not going to go there. Here's what I want to touch on before we shift over to ultimate responsibility here and really leadership, leading by example. Is that I posted yesterday, in fact, on my Facebook feed, and I asked, I said, obesity is a choice, true or false? And I got some mixed responses from that. I just really I was just trying to see where people's head was at. And most people were on the same page as me, but when I go back and I look at that post, I think that a more accurate and fair way to put that would be obesity is obesity is the result of your daily choices, right? Like that's a fact. There's literally no way you could say false on that, right? When you say obesity is a choice, it's not a conscious choice for most people, but obesity is the result of a series of daily choices. Well, that's a fact, right? We don't even have to debate that. But here's the thing is where with what we're talking about here, dude, and really shifting to the parents on this side of things, because look, man, this is the fatherhood experience, right? My wife's an amazing person. She's an amazing mom. She does great things. And I'm sure your wife is the same thing, right? But we're the dads, and we're the one that has to set the tone, especially with our family unit and really laying that foundation, right, for our kids. Because I know you've talked about, competing with Ace once he gets a little bit older, and you're a dad who's not going to let Ace win. I've got a 7-year-old right now who thinks, he likes to talk about how he can beat me in a race. And I was like, buddy, I'll race you any fucking day, dude. I will dust your ass, and I will do it until I can't do it anymore. And that's just me being me, dude. Like, I've got a competitive streak. You know me. Like, if I suck at something, I'm not going to compete at it. I'll just fucking throw in the towel and be like, I'm a shitty bowler. But if I think I can beat you, we going toe to toe. And if my son thinks he can beat me in a race, I'm going to smoke his ass as long as I possibly can. Same with you and Ace, right? Mm-hmm. And that competitive drive is lacking in our society right now. It is lacking in the household, because so many fathers, and I'm not even going to put this on the mom. It is the parents. But right now we're talking about this as the father's responsibility, right? We're talking about 12 and 13-year-old kids. And you and I talk a lot about, being a sideline dad. Like, all you guys that are listening right now, the last thing that you want to be is a fucking sideline dad, dude. You all know, every one of you guys listen, when you were growing up, you remember, if you played any kind of sports at all, and I'll get you a take on this too, Zach. Remember sports, right? You'd play, like, say it's soccer, basketball, whatever sport it was. Like, you're out, you're on the field, right? And you have vivid memories of the kids that you were playing sports with, whose kids were actually out there or whose dad was out there actually practicing and like working with the team and like being actively involved, and whose dad was always sitting his fat ass on the bleachers because he couldn't move, he couldn't run around, and he's just a sideline down watching from afar, right? That dad is the one who's creating this environment for his children. That dad, even though he's got his kid at soccer practice, right? Cool, you've got him enrolled right now. He's 7. Well, I'm taking to his games. He's being active on the field. Dude, you're not leading by example at home. His desire to play that sport is not contingent on your ability to get him to the game. He wants to see you be an active participant in his life. And when you are not being an active participant in his life, you are showing him that it's okay to let your foot off the gas and to play video games all day, to eat bonbons all day, and to not go out and play soccer in the backyard or go play basketball with the neighbor, right? I personally can name off about 5 dads from when I was growing up that were sideline dads. I remember the son, right? My dad was not a sideline dad. I don't have a great relationship with my dad right now. It's as good as it's been in a long time, but my dad was not a sideline dad. He was an active participant. He liked to get out there, run around. He was athletic himself. And so this is the root cause of this problem right now, right? The 12-year-old and the 13-year-old are not to blame. They are not to blame. It is not their responsibility to take personal responsibility on their health when they have a shit show going on at home. And so that is my initial thoughts on this, dude. And I'll get your take. It's like, do you remember the dads you used to see that were the fat guys sitting on the bleachers while you're out running around? And it never really registered back then. But like now looking back, you can take note and you're like, dude, I remember the sideline dads, and I'm glad my dad wasn't a sideline dad.
Yeah. So growing up, my mom came from the Philippines, right? When she was in middle school, with a sign over around her neck that said, "Help me." She literally came here by herself when she was like in 6th grade or something like that. They put her on a plane by herself with a sign over her neck that said, "Help me." So I'm not going to say that I came from a great background. When she met my dad,
yeah,
my actual biological.
That's a bit checked.
It's crazy. Yeah. My biological father left when I was like 3 years old.
Yeah.
Left me and my sister, literally got on a motorcycle, just left one day. So I didn't grow up in a household that was like very, very thriving.
Functional.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like hard. Like, yeah, my mom was at work. I was by myself with my grandma. My grandma died young. So I'm like, oh shit. By the time I was like in elementary school or something like that, she met my dad and they've been together. They both met at like Target, right? Dude. So you already know they weren't crushing.
No.
Right. They weren't crushing. So he actually was gone a majority of the time because after he would work a full-time shift, he'd go to school because he was a full-time student as well as working full-time to make sure that we could live in the mobile home we were in at the time. So where I'm getting at is it made me want to always leave, right? Because I didn't have like the quote unquote father figure. Not that he was a terrible dad by any means at all. It's not like he was gone. I just knew he was doing other shit.
Right.
But I would go out very often and hang out with my friends and their parents and shit like that because they were always around. And there was always like the cool dads. You know what I mean? The cool dads that you wanted to spend time with. So you always wanted to go over and kick it with them. Growing up now, I realize that that's like my biggest fear, man, is growing up and having Ace be like, I want to go to Billy's house because his dad's fucking cooler than you. He's more active in my life than you. He plays with us. He races with us. He brings us places. He does things that you don't do. That's like my biggest fear as a parent is having my kid want to be like somebody else. Because all our kids are extensions of us. Yep. All we are trying to do is help them to be better than us, sooner than us, to leave the world a better place than us.
Yep.
That's all it is. And every generation should always get better, man. But that was my biggest fear, man. When I was having Ace, I'm like, I'm gonna do everything I can to be involved in this kid's life so he will want to step in my shoes and nobody else's, because he's like, this is my guy, this is my hero, this is my dad. And I look up to him because he does everything to support me in every way possible.
Yep.
So I know that was a long story to get to my point, but that's the point, man. Like, don't be the sideline dad, because we talk about this all of the time. Your kid will only do what you say so long until they develop their own identity and realize that all you do is contradict yourself. Do this while I do that. Go run around while I sit around. Go eat healthy food and work out while I sit down and watch Netflix and eat chips. Yep. Your kids are going to start to identify you, and they're going to either say, hey, man, you're an asset in my life and you're helping me become a better person and I love you for it, or you're a fucking hypocrite who doesn't do jack shit of what you try to tell me to fucking do. You better make sure that what you're telling your kid is in alignment with what it is that you're truly doing as well. I would much rather try to thrive to achieve my goals and fall flat on my fucking face, die piss poor at the age of fucking 70, but have my kid respect the living shit out of me and love me for doing it while telling him to chase his dreams as well. Versus the other way around. Versus the other way around and be a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, dude, you hit on a lot of good shit there. And I'll just tell you, we are, I heard this the other day and I loved it. And I've actually used it a couple of times, but dude, when we're born, we look like our parents, right? When we die, we look like our choices. And I think that's so profound, man. Like when we're born, we look like our parents, and when we die, we look like our choices. And if you think about that from a I guess a high level overview, right? You're looking down on this. There's a crucial period of time where you have massive influence over the choices your children are going to make, right? And that's like what you said. I mean, they're an extension of you. You're sculpting this future model of yourself, right? You want them to be better. You want them to be more successful. You want them to be more handsome. That's kind of like the whole evolution thing. We evolved to be better, stronger, more masculine men, more successful, right? Like you want that for your kid. But if you're a sideline dad, you're setting your children up for the exact opposite. You're putting them at a significantly lower odds of pulling their head out of their ass and making it, right? I posted about this. I don't think you've seen it yet because I tagged you in the post, but we've been getting a lot of shitty comments on some of our ads, right? Just total losers commenting on the ad. Like
that's so common, dude. That's so common, dude. But those are the people. I mean, look, I don't want to get too off topic, but those are the kind of people who will always talk shit and drag you down to their level because they don't have it in them to level up themselves.
No, and they want to
all of my business friends get all those troll comments all day.
For sure. They're
trolls. Look, some people are just fucking losers. That's just the bottom line.
Sometimes I have a hard time not feeding the trolls, bap. I'll be honest.
It's
hard for me to not go over there and be like, dude, you like do better. Like, what are you doing right now? But like, they'll go on the ad, right? And they're triggered by the ad. They're like, oh, you're saying I can't be a good dad because I'm fat? I'm like, dude, yeah, actually I am, right? Like, I'm not saying you're not a bad dad. I'm not calling you a bad dad, but I'm telling you could do better. And if you don't believe you could do better, then that's on you and not me, right? And that's usually my response. But when you're going out and wasting your time commenting trashy shit on someone's ad that's out trying to help people get better, right? You want to put negativity around someone that's out doing good rather than spend the time going and doing good yourself. That's a pretty skewed view of life. And our audience just does not listen. We don't have guys like that listening to this show. Our guys are not here. None of you guys, and I'm speaking directly to you guys. You guys aren't showing up to this show to go trash people's ads and talk shit. You're here to get better, right? You're here to level up in life. And if you want to lay the foundation for your children, man, like it starts with you. It starts with you making the daily choices, right? Think about what I said. When you're born, you look like your parents. When you die, you look like your choices. If you're 50 pounds overweight right now and you die of a massive heart attack, you're going to die looking like your choices. You made a lot of shitty choices that made you 50 pounds overweight, just like Zach and I did when we were fat. When I was 60 pounds overweight, I made a shit ton of bad choices that led up to that, right? And that's just the reality. It's me calling it what it is. But man, what I think we have to really highlight here is, number one, this is disturbing. And whether we want to say Jason was right on the industry being created, we know that there's at least a portion of that's true, because I don't, after what I've seen over the last 2 years, it's going to be very challenging for me to trust any 3-letter agency. When you have advice being thrown out, and you have all these physicians, these fake physicians on Twitter. I don't know if you heard about this, but during the whole the push for the shot and all this stuff that was going along with it, they found out that a lot of the physicians that were making these recommendations to people out there were all a bunch of bot accounts, and they weren't real physicians. And so when I see kind of stuff, surprise. But when I see that kind of stuff, and I see a news outlet, a mainstream news outlet, like CBS coming out and fucking posting this kind of shit, it leads me to believe that, number one, we don't have very many trustworthy news sources anymore. It's all one agenda, right? They're pushing one agenda, but the 3-letter agencies have all lost every bit of my ounce of trust that I have in my body, which means, what does that mean for me moving forward? That means that I have to take even more personal responsibility to become more educated, more knowledgeable, and take care of myself the best way possible so that I can show my children, show my family what it's like to live a healthy lifestyle, to give them the best chance of success moving forward. To your point, right? You just want your kid to look back and be like, my fucking dad was awesome. He did everything he could to me. He set me up for the best chance of success possible. And the health component, I think you and I can both agree that there's nothing more important, dude. It's your time, right? Without health, you have less time. With less time, you only get one shot at this life, right? If you want to be a paper chaser and you want to chase money until you're fucking dead under the ground because you die of a massive heart attack because you chase paper too long and now you're unhealthy, you have stress out the roof, and you have no time for your family, and that's your priority in life. Well, that's certainly up to you, but I know that my future generations, I want to set them up with the best chance of success. And for you and I, health and fitness is the foundation for living your best life.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I'm going to go back to what you were talking about with the trolls on the ads, right? Because this brings us back to responsibility of the parents and leading by example.
Yep.
If you're offended by an ad, what does that mean? That means it fucking holds truth to you.
There you go.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be offended. If I called a girl a hoe and she wasn't a hoe, she would laugh or just be like, huh? What are you talking about?
There you go.
If you call a girl a hoe and she's a hoe, she's going to fucking hate you.
Yep.
If a statement holds true to you, you are going to be offended. So if you are offended, it holds truth to you. Mm-hmm. If you're going to talk about, oh, you're saying that I'm not a good dad because I'm fucking 100 pounds overweight, you might be a good dad based on where you are, like your circumstances. But do you think that your child deserves the 50% best version of you? Is that acceptable to you? That's my question. That is my question. If you think you're doing good, why the fuck not do great? Mm-hmm. Do you think your kid only deserves good? Is good enough acceptable? Shit, apparently good enough is acceptable for you, but is good enough acceptable for your child too? Is that a selfish take? Is that you defending your ego? Mm-hmm. Like if you get offended by certain statements that hold true, you shouldn't be talking shit. Shut the fuck up. Use your brain for a second. Be like,
yeah.
oh, I got work to do. I have something to do. And guess what? These guys calling me out, they might be the guys that want to help me because they're the ones that are actually giving me the hard truth. They're not patting me on the butt like, good job, buddy. Yeah,
Yep, I love
I'm
it,
glad that
dude.
you did this for your kid. No, look down deep within yourself and ask, why am I offended by this?
Mm.
And that's it. That's the beginning. I talk about the paradigm shift all the time. If you're able to not get offended, lower your emotions for a second and increase your logical state of thinking and be like, why am I offended by this? That might be the switch in your head, the paradigm shift that you need to change your life around.
I agree with you 100%.
It's not the victim mentality. Like, why the fuck does he get to do that? Why? Instead of asking how, or instead of asking why this, why that, ask them how can I do it too?
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's two frames of thought for every situation. We talked about a couple of podcasts ago how, two people going out in the cold, one could look at it negatively, and one could look at it positively. Instead of blaming shit and talking shit, ask, how can I do that shit too?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So shut up with the fucking emotions and be a fucking man and use your logical brain and ask how you can do it too. Because if you're offended, that's your fault. Fix it.
You nailed it, dude. I can't agree more. I think that's a great place to wrap, dude. Like the bottom line is this, man. When I see an article like that, and this is the first of many to come, right? Like if they're starting in on it right now at 2023, January, imagine where this push is going to go, because an industry is being created. This stuff with the surgeries, the gender surgeries, like I said earlier in the episode, look, the more evil that I realize is in the world, the more I peel back the onion layers, dude. It's the more I know, the more sad that I get with how this like small group of evil motherfuckers is like ruling the world, right? This elitist class that has this big push. And so the ultimate thing that we can do as fathers is fight back against this with becoming the best version of ourselves, dude. When you work on your own personal development, when you work on leading by example at home, when you check your ego at the door and show up with a I want to get better mentality, dude, like that is so powerful. Just being open to the knowledge, being open to something better, something different, something that might change your life is step one in you turning around your life, dude. And like, I think you nailed it. You were spot on with what you just said. So I'm going to end it here, dude. And we'll try this, man. Like we have gotten a shit ton of outreach from you guys, and we appreciate that. One thing that we do not do on this show is run advertising. Some of you guys might have listened to other shows. I know I have a couple in my podcast library where, they'll have ads come on, and it's like, dude, it's like a 5-minute ad thing, and I have to fast forward the podcast, and I hate that, right? We have our little like mid-roll thing where we just talk about how we might be able to help you, but we're not here to waste your time, man. And so we need you guys to help us grow this community. We need you guys to help us spread the news, spread the show, because we don't take sponsors for this. I don't want advertisers to come on to our show and tell me or Zach what we can or can't say. This is all unfiltered. If I want to talk about the government, I'm going to fucking talk about the government. If I want to talk about, body positivity being an absolute bullshit thing in our world, I'm going to talk about it. And I don't want to be filtered. And so when you have advertisers come on, they will a lot of times tell you what you can and can't say. And that's not the type of show that we have. And so we're relying on you guys to help us spread the news, spread the show. The best way that you can do that is to go into the review section on iTunes or even Spotify. Now they have a review section there. Is go in, leave us a 5-star review or however many stars you think we deserve, and then just drop us a litlittle comment. Just tell us one thing you liked about the show. It will literally take you 10 seconds out of your day to do that. I don't care if you give us a 5-word sentence, this show rocks, or whatever you want to do. That was 3 words. But if you want to, that's the one thing that will help us grow the show the most, though, is by you guys helping us out with the reviews and the ratings. That way, the algorithm, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, knows to show our show to more people, right? They'll show our show to more men when it's getting interest from you guys. And so if you could possibly help us do that, if you got value out of today's show, go down in the show notes, leave us a 5-star review, drop a little quick note for us here once you park your car or you're done at the gym. We are truly grateful for every single review that we get, and we read them all. So I'll throw this out there too. Again, this is a place where you can put topic suggestions too. So if you have a topic suggestion, if you want to tell us what you loved about the show, shit, maybe you want to tell us what you hated about the show, that would mean the world to us if you could help us that way by spreading the word. So you guys get out there, crush it this week. Today is Momentum Monday, dude. Go make moves this week. Lay the foundation for your children's future, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Thank you.